I should turn on my microphone. Excuse me. Let's bring this meeting of our first Transportation Committee, Senate Transportation Committee meeting to order. Pierre, could we have a roll call?
Senator Anderson,
Here.
Senator Barlow,
Present.
Senator Cooper,
Here.
Senator Kolb,
Present.
Chairman Pappas.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, everyone. As we begin the meeting, I want to call to your attention to the committee's rules of decorum. I think there's copies out with the agenda, but they're available online on the legislative website on the meetings page. Please look at those if you haven't seen them. We note these rules at the beginning of each meeting simply as a reminder that we expect everyone in attendance to be treated in a courteous and respectful manner. So that being said, please mute any cell phones. That's including the committee. And when you come to the podium, please make sure you turn on your microphone. If it's green, you're good to go, right? Okay, so the first bill for our consideration, we'll take these bills in order, committee. We'll tackle Senate File 11, Burials of Indigent Veterans Amendments. So General Porter, I'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, Chairman Pappas and members of the committee. Appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of you today. Three bills, I think, for your consideration this morning. The indigent burials one, as you recall from the interim, was an attempt to just clean up some language in the statute to make it a little more clear, to make sure that there was no misunderstanding. And then I understand you want to do this by the bills, sir, so I'll hold my comments on 12 and 13 if we could. I'm perfectly fine to answer any questions about indigent burial before we go, but I think everybody's tracking it and pretty well understands that, sir.
Okay, thank you. Committee, as you recall, we went through this bill to clarify clean up some language. I think I'll just if there's no more testimony from the department, I'll open it up to anybody who wants to discuss this bill. No one? Is there anyone online? Oh, here we go. Jeremiah, please come forward.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Jeremiah Riemann here on behalf of the Wyoming County Commissioners Association. Appreciate you taking up this legislation. We don't have a position for you one way or the other quite yet. Commissioners will be here later this week. I don't anticipate any opposition to the legislation, but I do want to just perhaps provide a little bit of clarity about indigent burial program. So there are two components to indigent burials in the state of Wyoming. One of those is the responsibility of the Department of Family Services, which you see articulated in the back end of this particular legislation. The other part is the county part of the responsibility. And each of the counties have a responsibility for non-DFS cases. So if you qualify for DFS, then you would not be eligible for the county program. If you don't qualify for DFS and you're truly indigent, then you would qualify for the county program in one of two places. You have in front of you the veterans portion of that. If you go into 18.3.504C, which is not reflected in the bill, that is the other county responsibility for indigent individuals. For the county side of the equation, the county is responsible for up to $1,500 of costs, regardless of whether you're a veteran or a non-DFS indigent individual. The one distinction is that for veterans under, as is reflected under the bill in 1914-101, the county commissioners are responsible for up to $500 in transportation costs to the veterans cemetery. And it's a program that works really well. I can tell you that we administer the county program on behalf of the DFS and are able to reimburse counties for the expenses that they have for that because of fees that you've put in place for death certificates. But I will say that that program last year on the county side was overprescribed. So we had to prorate refunds back to the counties as a result of that. So sorry, I wanted to make sure that you had a full understanding of what the indigent burial program is. I will tell you that there is no indigent individual that wouldn't qualify for one of the three programs that exist out there. Either you qualify for DFS or you qualify the county program. This bill does clarify a few things, and it tries to protect counties, in particular on page 3 in that language on lines 16 through 19. That's fine. There is one little hiccup that I might point out to you, and I just think we might need to work on some language. And that's the added language that you've put on page 2, lines 14 and 15. That leaves me with the impression that if you were a DFS indigent responsibility, that you would also be a county responsibility under this provision if you had no other means to pay for your burial. That's in addition to the transportation costs. So you almost get, it's an added benefit if you qualify under it. Maybe that's your intent and maybe that's fine, but it could be an added county cost the way that I read that language. Now, we could clarify and say that that is only applicable to the transportation costs, which would be fine with us because that's a responsibility that we normally bear. But this, the way I read it, could lend to, you could qualify under DFS and for us, and we'd have to pay twice. Or it'd be two different entities would be paying for that indigent burial, if that makes any sense. So with that, Mr. Chairman, appreciate the time to be able to discuss this program.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Reedman. Committee questions? Senator Kolb.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Morning, Jeremiah. About the, I guess, the total cost, and I mean, could qualify to pay, I mean, about your just recent thought here, and I guess you don't have an amendment, but the situation, I guess, is overall, if you have the county has an excess cost, they bear that excess cost currently. Is that, I mean, how would that actually work and function? I kind of forget from being a county commissioner a few years ago, because we never had that many folks that we had to cover, and we did. But under this scenario, I guess, Jeremiah, my question is what really impact does that have? If you're already covering the cost, if that's the case, that's really the question. Do you cover the costs currently? And if so I don't see it as a harm, but so could you please explain, I guess, the scenario that you'd go through where, say, there wasn't enough money, Jeremiah? That's really the question, I guess. If you don't have enough money, how would it actually function? How much does the county currently pay for a typical situation where they have to cover this cost? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, and I apologize if I've muddled the waters on this. Part of the concern is that we would now potentially be assigning a cost that is typically borne by the DFS entirely to the county, in particular with the language that I mentioned. Now, DFS, the way I read this bill, DFS is going to have to pay for it up front if they qualified under the DFS, so they had power, TANF, those benefits, then they're going to go under that. This language potentially says that the county too has to pay for that, which is not something that we typically bear. So that would be a little bit of a change. Now, a change from when you were in the office to where we stand today is that only a couple of years ago, the legislature was very generous and did raise the death certificate fee by $5. That money now goes into a pot which is split 50-50 between the DFS, so they can cover their costs, and the counties. My first couple of years administering that program, the counties, we were able to reimburse every county for the $1,500 that they were responsible for. This last year was the first year where we had so many indigent burials that the available county funds were not enough to cover the county funds. And so under, and I wish I had the statute right in front of me, I can certainly get it to you. Under that, it requires us to prorate it across all of the counties. So we had to reduce those reimbursements back to the counties. And I'm trying to pull up the data really quickly for you. That's not the right. I can certainly get you that full amount that we ultimately were able to reduce it. But total statewide, we were able to reimburse over $115,000 worth of indigent burials across the state.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. How much percentage are we talking about, Jeremiah? How much did the fund lack in funding? That's really probably more fundamental to me. What do we have to make up? Just where are we at? Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to go off the top of my head. I'll get the exact figure for you, but I want to say that last year we had to prorate it at about 82%. That's what I have in my head that we prorated refunds at.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So you were short by what, 18%, or you were short by 80? I mean, how is that? I mean, which way are we going with the prorate?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we were short 18%.
Okay. Thank you.
Across the state, yes.
Senator Anderson.
Mr. Chairman, did I hear you say that in the legislative generosity, they increased the amount by $5? Is that some generosity?
Mr. Chairman,
Agreement.
Senator Anderson, the previous death certificate fee, if my memory serves me correct, was $5, and you added an additional $5 to that death certificate cost.
Well, that's nice generosity. Yeah.
Okay, committee, any further questions? Senator Barlow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Raymond, so if I'm understanding correctly, on page 2, line 14, 15, your proposition is that sentence does not need to be there because that actually places a dual obligation, which is also in this bill. That's on page 4 of the bill. So someone could qualify for both sections. And I just want to be clear that's what I'm, so striking that language would address that potential of dual eligibility. Mr. Chairman, is that accurate?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Senator Barlow, I think there are two ways that you can go about this. If you just strike that language, my only concern with that approach is that under the veterans reimbursement, we have, for those veterans that are going to be buried in the veterans cemetery, we have a $500 transportation responsibility. That is distinct from what exists in the rest of the indigent burial program. So I think perhaps a more thoughtful approach is to try and make that language target that you only get reimbursed for the burial expenses once, but that we might still maintain a responsibility for the transportation costs. I hope that makes sense.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Chairman, a follow-up. So I'll go to page 4 of the bill. lines 18 through 22. So this is under the section of law that talks about the department having responsibilities. And this section talks about the board shall have no additional responsibilities in excess of the amounts. So actually, there's a conflict in this current language. It seems to me that in some way you're given an obligation, which is on line 4, the department shall pay. So it seems like current law already has some conflict within it. Am I reading that incorrectly? Thank you.
No, Mr. Chairman, I think you're reading into it the way I would read into it, and it in some ways goes to a contention I had early on with this legislation, is that I don't think it's necessary. If you are truly indigent, you are going to qualify either for the DFS program or the county program. We're going to be responsible one way or the other. The only distinction perhaps is that if you're a qualified veteran and you're going to be buried in the veterans cemetery, then we have a transportation responsibility. That may be one distinction that could be clarified. But yes, it's, we're creating conflicts.
Senator,
No, I can go, Mr. Senator.
go ahead, continue, Senator Bartle.
So I'm going to continue then just for a moment. So I think there are two fundamental, there's a fundamental policy question in this as well, and that's page 2, the striking of the war or conflict. That expands the availability of this to numerous people. So that is a fundamental policy, I think, difference that this bill is in. And the second thing I would say is a fundamental policy is the difference on page 4 going from $1,000 to $1,500. So irrespective of the differences between the two programs, the military one is being expanded to make more people eligible, and the second one is being brought up to parity in the dollar wise. So I think those two, there's 3, maybe more than one thing happening here, but the policies are do we want to expand veterans of eligibility, and do we want to have parity between the two payment systems? Because what I would argue is the $500 and the $1,500 in the veterans makes it to $2,000, and the current law is only $1,000 total under the department program. So I think there's more than one thing here. The necessity of the bill may be confusing between the county and the others, but there is a policy question here as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, if I could,
Mr. Eman.
Senator Barlow, I don't disagree in terms of the move from $1,000 to $1,500 under DFS, that is a policy distinction. And I want to be clear that we're not here to shirk any responsibility for veterans. That is a fundamental responsibility that we have. I don't think that the striking of the language on page 2 relative to those veterans really fundamentally changes anything. Because if you are truly an indigent individual, you are either going to qualify for the DFS program or you're going to qualify for the county program. The only place that there is a slight distinction, again, is that we have a responsibility for transportation costs to the veterans cemetery, and that should stay. And if you want to expand that to all veterans, that's perfectly fine with us. I just think that this language in page 2 does confuse things and suggest that we might be responsible in a place where DFS is also responsible.
Senator Colt.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Jeremiah, the way it sounded is like it sounded to me like the crux of this bill is needed beyond the cost increase. And you're saying that currently you're paying for it anyway. So I guess what is your opinion on the need for this bill?
Mr. Eman.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know that I'm here to articulate that, other than it's my understanding there's a desire to have some clarification that all veterans are going to be, if they are indigent, that their burial expenses are going to be covered. And the best I can say is that I believe they are going to be covered regardless of which you're either going to qualify for DFS or you're going to qualify for the county.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Anderson.
Mr. Chairman, so what happens if we don't pass this? What is going on now? Just the transportation costs are not covered?
Mr. Chairman, I have not seen a county deny transportation costs for a veteran, indigent veteran to the veteran cemetery. I just haven't in the time, and we've reimbursed for that. If all we have to, all that the county has to do is determine, one, did they qualify for the DFS program? And if they qualified for the DFS program, then they have no further responsibility. If they did not qualify for DFS and that individual was indigent, they can't find any assets that remain from that individual, then the county picks up the cost. They pay their $1,500 and then ultimately they'll submit that reimbursement to me.
Okay, thank you. The department is here and I apologize, Corin, that I didn't have you speak earlier. Would you please come up and give us your thoughts? I actually apologize to the committee. We should have gone through this bill first. So anyhow, I'll
Just a comment, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to turn into this either.
typically we go through the bill first and I didn't do that, so I apologize, but Ms. Schmidt, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Corin Schmidt, the Director of the Department of Family Services. We really didn't have any testimony. We were just here to answer any questions because as noticed, this program can get a little confusing. I think to Senator Anderson's point, what's the purpose of this bill? And then to Senator Barlow's, on page 4, where there is an increase to our program to $1,500, just equalizes at the local level what a funeral home may get paid for. So I do think that the bill is important from that regard. I do think the $500 for burial is what's really important for transportation so that a veteran gets the honors that the veteran deserves. And so maybe it's about pulling out that $500 and saying any veteran gets it and either the county can pay for it, but the county isn't subject to pay for those veterans that qualify under our program. And I can't wordsmith it quick enough for you, but it's really about that $500 in transportation to a military cemetery that I think is really important outside of $1,500 per burial for our program versus $1,500 per burial for the county's program. So that would be a recommendation that I would suggest.
So both of you, would you suggest that we modify the language in 14 and 15 on page 2 to specify that it's for transportation somehow? Is that what I'm hearing?
Mr. Chairman, I don't disagree with anything that the director said. If you were trying to focus in, it would be lines 14 and 15 and making that transportation specific. As I indicated at the very beginning, it just appears confusing that it is more expansive than that.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For either of you, if we were to amend page 2, lines 14, 15, and into line 16, any veteran that qualifies under the statute shall also qualify under this section for the amount expended for transporting the body, not to exceed $500. Do you think that would work? Would that clear it up?
Mr. Chairman, I think you're on the right track.
Okay, thank you. Senator Barlow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Director Schmidt, does the department pay for any veterans, indigent veterans, burials now? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Barlow, if a person who deceases is on Medicaid, Power, which is a TANF program, or SSI, then they qualify for our program. So you could have a veteran who qualifies for Medicaid, SSI that we would pay for. So I think maybe what you're getting at is the flexibility of the $500 to either be paid for by us or by the county if necessary. And certainly we could honor paying for the transportation costs of a veteran if we're paying for their services. You're welcome.
Okay. Okay. Senator Kolb.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to be clear to the public here. What I understand is, and please agree, I guess disagree, or whatever you think is necessary. We have never denied transportation costs for a veteran that anyone knows of in the state of Wyoming. And certainly in my county has never done that. But the question is has this actually been a problem yet on denial of transportation or not? Or is there some circumstance that happened that this was an issue? I just like to be clear to the public. What have we been doing? How we've been treating veterans? Because with the utmost respect, I have never heard of a situation like this happening. So could you please, I guess, confirm or, I don't know, add more light to this? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
Mr.
Freeman.
Chairman, the best I can give you is that I have seen no county in my 4 or 5 years administering the county side of this ever deny transportation costs relative to a veteran.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Anderson.
I heard a couple times we said it was transportation costs to a military cemetery. Do they also qualify for transportation to a civilian cemetery?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Anderson, yes. And I think to Senator Kolb's point, on the Department of Family Services side, right now we are limited to $1,000 for everything. So we will reimburse up to $1,000. That may or may not cover the cost of a transportation to a military cemetery. So ours is a no, not to exceed. I think what this bill is proposing is that if $500 additional to that to be able to provide for military transportation.
Mr. Chairman, if I can,
Mr.
just to
Reedman.
explain why there's the reference to the Veterans Cemetery, and it clearly is in line 7 through 9 of page 2 that discusses the county responsibility relative to these honorably discharged veterans to burial in the veteran cemeteries. That's why you've heard me mention that. But more broadly than I've not seen any county deny transportation to a cemetery.
Okay. All right. Any further questions, committee? Okay, is there anybody else out in the public that would like to weigh in on this? No, and I don't believe we have anyone online, correct? Okay, so we'll close public comment. Senator Barlow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Reedman, I got one more question for you. I'm still going, Mr. Chairman, back to I think the significant expansion of this benefit and the county's responsibility. So on page 3, line 10, 11, 12, the way I would read that is before you do anything, charges or expenses with this veteran, they have to actually be World War II or preceding, Vietnam or Korean. We've got a lot of veterans since then. This country has a lot of veterans since then. So I just want to be clear, this expands the number of veterans that would be eligible through the county program if this language stays in. And that may now be actually eligible through the DFS program. Is that how I should read that? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Freeman.
Mr. Chairman, as I worked with, in particular, Representative Larson, what we were trying to do is that, yes, you were expanding the number of veterans that would qualify under the veterans portion of statute. What we were trying to do is to ensure that the responsibility for the DFS cases remained responsibility of the DFS. And that's why he tried to put in provision D on page 3, line 16 through 19, which may be good enough, along with the provision that you pointed out on page 4 relative to DFS cases. My problem that I kept getting hung up as I read this bill when it officially came out was that provision on page 2, which seemed to say you can qualify for DFS and now you can qualify for this, and both of them can be paid, which was not what Representative Larson and I were trying to work on.
Follow up?
Thank you.
You good? Okay. All right. Senator Kolb.
Yeah, thank you. This is more of a DFS question. How does DFS interpret this on these two lines? I mean, we're making, we're thinking maybe it's going to be an issue. What say DFS, Mr. Chairman?
Well, Ms. Schmidt, you want to come down and weigh in?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Kolb, we agree that it's a little confusing. We kind of rely on a pretty straight, are you a veteran? Are you on Medicaid? Are you on SSI? Then you go this way. If you're indigent, meaning there's no other way to pay for it, then that goes to the county. So it is a little muddled with this additional language.
Thank you, Corin.
Mr. Chairman, wait a minute.
Oh. Senator Anderson.
Mr. Chairman, did I hear that maybe on Medicaid, the burial gets paid for if it goes that way? And if it's indigent, it goes that way? I didn't know Medicaid paid for burials either.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Anderson, that's the qualifier. So if you were on Medicaid, then DFS would pay for the burial. It establishes kind of the level of eligibility in terms of poverty. No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so public comment now is closed.
Anybody online?
No, there's no one online. Okay, so committee, what's your pleasure?
Move the bill.
Yeah, moved?
Second.
Moved by Anderson, seconded by Cooper.
Either.
Okay, let's go through the bill. I don't think we have anything on page 1 we have to deal with. Do we need to change anything on page 2? Senator Cooper, I think Senator Cooper wanted to make an amendment. Unless,
Better language.
No, you.
So I would move to on lines 14, 15, and 16, amend it to say any veteran that qualifies under section 42-2-103C shall also qualify under this section for the amount expended for transporting the body not to exceed $500.
Okay.
Or any other language as we see fit.
okay, Senator Barlow, did you? Okay, Senator Kolb, you got to,
Yeah, I think maybe we should go out for the purposes of transportation and keep it clean. Don't even bother with the amounts already held in there, the $500. We have to add that. That would be my broad question to the bringer of the amendment. I think for the purposes of transportation, I guess as clean as possible, maybe. Mr. Chairman, that would be my thoughts. I'd like to, I guess at a broader question, Mr. Chairman, is I was sort of like known this back when we were working the bill during the interim as a committee bill, and here we go, right? Thought it was going to be simple, Mr. Chairman. But I think we have to clarify for the purposes of transportation at the very least, and I don't know if we need the rest of the language. That would be my contributing thought, Mr. Chairman, to the amendment.
so in your scenario, you would drop the amount, you'd strike the amount.
What benefit does Mr. Chairman, what benefit would it give to put the amount in when it's controlled by other parts of this bill? That was my thought about not, making it wordier than it needed to be.
I don't know, sound logical to you? Senator Barlow, any thoughts?
So is that was a motion or what do we have?
Well, no, we're just discussing,
Just
we're
look at-
discussing his amendment.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Microphone, please.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, so if we're trying to make sure that the $500, are we trying to make sure the $500 for transportation is available under this section or under the DFS section? That's my first question.
I believe it's under this section.
And if they're a veteran that's happens to go into the other section, or we assume that all veterans will now come under this section? That's my question.
I think the intent and what I heard under testimony from Mr. Riemann is that if you qualify under this section, it should be for transportation costs only. And I think that's what I heard. We could bring Mr. Riemann back up here if you'd like to answer your question.
Maybe, Mr. Chairman, I don't know that we're going to get the language right in this, but I think maybe there's some more work to be done and we can take a committee of the whole amendment. I want to make sure that we're doing this. I don't think there should be any, Mr. Chairman, if I could, I don't think any veteran will be buried under the DFS one with the changes to this language. All veterans would be cycled to this particular place because we've removed all the qualifiers for conflict. That's my view. If the DFS finds a veteran within their purview under power or anything else, whatever programs, they're automatically, I think, can be said and they want to go to a veteran cemetery, they automatically would go to this. That would be my
I don't
Thank
think
you.
that's true. I think if they qualify under SI or Medicaid or Medicare, they automatically go to DFS, right? They don't go to the county. If they qualify under those other programs, the county doesn't see them.
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Kolb.
thank you. So we could table this. We could ask the Wyoming County Commissioner Association to come up with language that they work on to clarify this section here. That's a possibility.
We could do that. Is that something you think we can do?
Mr. Chairman, so I'm going to take a shot at an amendment.
Okay.
So the amendment's going to strike the new language on 1415. It's going to go with the existing language and it's just going to add, or not, it was, so on 15, it'll continue with the existing language. The amount expended for transporting a body of a veteran shall not exceed $500 under this section or under WS 42-103C.
I like that.
Is that a friendly amendment to your amendment?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Well, let's get some feedback.
Let's hear from the county or the department. If that sounds logical, then we won't have to do a committee, the full amendment. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, and actually I'm going to change it just a little bit. So the new language would be stricken. The amount expended for transporting the body of a veteran under this section shall not exceed $500 of a body of a veteran shall not exceed $500 under this section or WS 42-103C. Maybe it should say for the purposes of this section.
yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be glad to bring it as a committee of the whole amendment.
Well,
Okay, all right, let's just do that. If we're still
yeah.
under concern,
Well, we could have LSO work on the language, Mr. Chairman.
okay, so do we want to leave this bill unamended right now and continue on? Okay, as far as this section, let's continue on in the bill.
Do I need to withdraw that amendment?
Well, it got a second, but yeah.
Okay.
we'll
Mr.
withdraw.
Chairman, I would withdraw the amendment.
Okay, Amendment's been withdrawn. Thank you. Okay, let's go on. Page 3, any changes? Okay, seeing none. Page 4, any changes? Being none, I think the effective date is okay. All right. Let's have a vote. Here.
This is a roll call vote for Senate File 11. Senator Anderson.
Aye.
Senator Barlow.
Aye.
Senator Cooper.
Aye.
Senator Kolb.
Soft eye.
Chairman Pappas.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay, thank you. Anybody care to carry this one on the floor?
Well,
Okay,
second that.
okay, all right, let's move on. We have two bills coming up that Wyoming National Guard Enlistment Bonus Program and the Wyoming National Guard Referral Amendments. And I believe General Porter has some opening comments before we dive into these bills.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. Members of the committee, but for the record, and I forgot to introduce some folks, my name is Major General Greg Porter, and I serve as the Adjutant General for the Wyoming National Guard. To my left is our new Senior Legal Advisor, Lieutenant Colonel Eva Koski. You may recall Lieutenant Colonel Karen Hinkle was the advisor before that, and she has moved on to a different position, and Eva has taken up. Just real quick, some comments to try to refresh us all from the interim discussions that we had on these critical bills on Senate File 12 and 13. You may recall that Senate File 13, the referral program, actually sunsets this upcoming 30 June. So it'll be important for us to address that. And Senate File 12, the enlistment bonus, is a new bonus program, and to my knowledge, the first of its kind in the state of Wyoming. Achieving our in-strength goals is the number one and only priority for the Wyoming National Guard. And achieving those objectives is essential for us to accomplish our mission. And let me just once again reiterate the mission of the Wyoming National Guard is to provide ready and professional personnel and units that are capable of winning on the battlefield, enabling competition across all the warfighting domains, saving lives, alleviating suffering, and protecting our infrastructure and residents. So that's the bottom line, what we're charged to do. And we must have some full and ready units in order to make that happen. I'm going to give you a little bit of data about the atmospherics out there that you probably are well aware of, but want to make sure that we have it in context as you debate the pros and cons of these bills. You know that Wyoming is the 10th largest land area state, but we are the least populated at 588,000 personnel. Jobs are tough right now. Only Alaska is worse than us in terms of non-farm job growth. For high school grads, we've likely peaked at about 6,300 folks this last year for Wyoming in high school grads. If the data continues to continue as it is, by 2041, we'll drop by 25% in high school grads to about 4,700. We lose about 3 educated personnel out of the state for every one that we bring back. We are one of the highest exporters of youth and brain power in the 50 United States and territories. Presently, the Wyoming National Guard sits about 97% strength. We have 547 soldiers against about a force structure, which is how many we can have, about 1,585. So we're sitting about 97% strength right now, and that's come up. We were about 92% at the end of COVID when we came down, so we've been coming up a little bit. But there are two things that's going to impact that pretty significantly in the coming years. First off, we're going to grow our force structure. We're going to get a new Charlie battery into the state. So that's going to raise our force structure up to about 1,653. So that's immediately going to drop. This is going to happen in about 7 months. We'll get a new HIMARS firing battery in, and it'll raise our force structure up. And so that'll drop us down to about 93% strength. At the same time, about 1/3 of the Army deployed last year. So we had about 500 folks that left for basically a year. We find after those deployment, our attrition rate goes up. Many of our soldiers and guardsmen have said, hey, listen, now that I've deployed and done my mission, I've done what I need to do for the state and the nation, and it's time for me to move on and concentrate on my civilian career. So we're going to raise our force structure, and we're going to have an instance where attrition is going to increase. If we look at the Air National Guard side, we've got about 1,213 airmen against a force structure of 1,317. So we're sitting at about 92%. And we've largely stayed in that area for the last 3 years. Also, in about 6 months, the wing's going to deploy. So we're going to send about half the wing overseas for a 6-month deployment. And once again, they will experience higher attrition as well going forward. So if you kind of look at where we sit here, having full and ready units is incredibly difficult for us to maintain in this job condition that we have in Wyoming, and the fact that our youth keep leaving. So I need some help. I need some assistance in trying to keep those men and women associated with Wyoming and fill up our units so that we can do our mission. If you think about our sessions mission right now, if you take the Army in the air, we need about 300 soldiers and airmen each year to continue to move forward. If you look across the Department of Defense, now the Department of War, Wyoming produced last year about 500 men and women that joined every component of the United States military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, all that. So given that, the Wyoming National Guard has to attract about 2/3 of every single high school graduate that's eligible has to come into our ranks in order for us to meet our mission. That's a difficult prospect to do, particularly when we export so many of our men and women. Cannot successfully do that unless I get some more fishermen out there looking for leads. If you look at our recruiting structure, you'll see that the number one lever to attract leads is friends, family, acquaintances. Advertising after that, high school recruiters, those all come second, third, and fourth. Number one is friends and family. The referral bonus, which is Senate File 13, really leverages that for us. Once we had this program that the legislature granted our ability to do was a $500 referral bonus, we gained about 109 enlistments over the last 2 years. So that's about 30% of all the enlistments we get, we had leads from the referral program. If we look around our neighboring states, Montana has $1,000 for their referral program. This is particularly important for our Air Guard because we get a lot of our recruits from Colorado, and a lot of them come to our formations. So I'd like to stay competitive with them with the referral bonus and getting that out there. If you look at our demographics, most of our recruits are coming from Casper, Laramie, Cheyenne right now. That's where most of our folks are because frankly, that's where the jobs are. But we have armories and readiness centers and units spread out throughout the state. So the more referral bonuses we can get, the more folks, fishermen out there providing us leads, the better off we are. Depending on which statistics you think about, it takes about anywhere from 80 to 90 leads to get one enlistment. It's not easy to get in the United States military these days. So we must generate a lot of leads. The referral bonus will be critical for us to do that. Right now, the referral bonus is $163,000 is what I believe the law says. And that's frankly because I screwed up at the meeting when they were doing the amendments. That 163 is really only for the Army. If the committee is willing to entertain it, I would like to increase the appropriation to $250,000. That'll get us 250 more folks over the next 2 years.
That was our original amount.
Yes, sir. That was the original amount. And it was my fault. I didn't catch it when it was getting amended in committee and didn't bring it up.
I believe it was, I think you mentioned there was, it was only 35,000 short of what we used last year, which would have been 215K.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We didn't expend all of the ones last year. Yeah. So on the referral bonus, that's my number one priority. If we had to take one, I believe I'd like to continue that. I think that's going to be most successful for us. But the enlistment bonus is something that's interesting as well. if you look about it nationwide, recruiting is going great. The Army National Guard is overstructured right now. They're about 2,000 soldiers more. And so you can already start to see that bonuses and incentives are starting to tail off at the federal level because they've achieved their mission. Not the case in Wyoming. Basically, given because of our demographics, we have to try really hard to recruit. I'm already short. I have 25 recruiters on the Army side. I have about 7 on the air side. And the way the money is going, I'm already down 3 recruiters. So I see that continuing to go until recruiting changes. So while Wyoming needs more folks in our formation, the nation does not. But that's where they're making the decisions at the federal level on where bonuses and incentives come from. So that's why I'm asking the state to take a look at picking up that piece. As the bonuses continue to shrink because they don't need as many folks in our state, we'd like to get after it. Primarily to get after that attrition rate that's going to happen with the units that came back and folks leaving. We want to entice them to stay. It's about 5%. I need to knock it down 5%. We have an attrition rate that hangs around 11% right now, which is pretty good. When I first got into this business, 18% was the standard. We've driven it down to 11%, but it's going to go up to about 14 if I don't do something different. That's what this referral bonus, or excuse me, that's what this enlistment bonus is designed to do, is get after that increased attrition rate. Again, I would like to see, we ought to prove up ourselves every 2 years. And so I think every 2 years, we ought to take a look at where our recruiting is at and have the legislature and the state of Wyoming make the decision that, yes, we still need it or we do not need it. So it's a pretty volatile place right now. You see that the National Guard its usage continues to go. We're going to continue to need men and women who are willing to serve and defend and protect this state and nation. And these, I believe, are going to be critical. These 2 bills, these 2 tools are going to be critical in our ability to do so. So, sir, I think that's enough said at the moment.
I think,
And
Senator
happy to
Coleman
answer questions.
has a question for you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm a simple guy. Can we just focus on the bill that we're going to try to focus on? This is deference of the chairman, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman.
Well, we're going to take them one at a time.
Okay.
He just wanted to give an opening comment.
All right.
Okay,
Well, I
so
just-
anyhow, we'll begin with Senate File 12. We're taking these in order. So Wyoming National Guard Reenlistment Bonus Program. Are you going to walk us through the bill, Pierre, or is the general going to do that? Yeah. Okay. General, would you walk us through the bill?
Yes, sir. Sir, enough changes on page 1. So if we go to page 2, you'll see that that we've created the enlistment program. And really, if you look at little I underneath on 10, a reenlistment bonus of $5,000 as we get across there. So that's what we're trying to get after and that's the meat of this particular bill. They have to satisfy the reenlistment extension criteria. 19 really talks about the member reenlists or extends for not less than 3 years. So we're trying to get those that have had their initial enlistment, and we want them to continue serving with us for at least 3 years. If we continue on through the bill, satisfactory requirements, if we look on page 3, line 5, under paragraph I, the military department shall distribute a reenlistment or extension bonus of $5,000 to those extending beginning 1 November 26 and annually ever 1 November after. We'll provide a report to Joint Transportation and Military Affairs on how this is going. If we continue on, the number of National Guard members who reenlisted or extended, and then it continues to go on with the bonuses paid, the total number of members in the Wyoming National Guard from the previous year as we get through it. So are you prepared to walk through, or I got it? And then if we look section 2, there's appropriation of $1 million that we think will use this. And then section 3 will promulgate rules. And finally, 4 is effective immediately upon on completion of all acts necessary for the bill to become law in Article 4 and Section 8. So my clumsily way walking through it, sir, that's the bill, but I stand by for questions and comments from the committee.
Okay, thank you. We'll take public comment now before we work the bill. Yeah, sure. If you got a question, go ahead and ask. Senator
Thank you, Mr.
Barlow.
Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, top of page 3, lines 1 through 3. I guess I'm interested to know what other requirements may be required. Well, this has rulemaking authority in the end of the bill, but I just am curious about that. And then on lines 9, I'll just do both questions at the same time.
Sure.
It says an extension bonus of not more than $5 or $500,000. But on line 10 through 13, the previous page, it says an extension of $5,000. So I just want to know if there's the consistency between those two lines, those two things, and then what other requirements might be required or might be put forth. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, Senator
General.
Barlow, the requirements are largely those of being in good standing to make sure that their individual is not flagged for anything. When we say flag, that means they've got a PT test that they're not current on, or they haven't finished some professional education that they need. So those requirements have to be satisfied to make sure that we can extend them before they can even extend to get that done. So that's why we put that particular set of instructions in the bill. We did want a little flexibility about the 5,000 to make sure maybe for a particular MOS or a occupational specialty or an AFSC on the air side, maybe it's 3,000 that we want to do that. So we can expand it a little bit or take it all the way up to 5,000. So we were looking for a little flexibility in not just everybody gets 5,000. So we may be able to entice somebody for a lesser amount and also generate some more additional extension bonuses by doing that. So that was the intent behind that.
Follow up? Good.
Mr. Chairman, so I certainly appreciate the intention, but it creates an immediate conflict in the bill.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Gold.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, my question is on page 2, and it is about that conflict. So wouldn't it, I don't know what the downside would be is of saying it'd be up to $5,000. I don't know what number, I mean, I think that's just a problem with that language, which we can talk about, but your thoughts on that. And then secondarily, General, how in the heck did we come up with the idea that this amount of money was going to make an effect on the program? What quantifiable data do you have that says this will effectively make a change in the right direction? Either I'm not saying it's enough money or it's too little.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not wanting to know that. I want to know, what have you done or what can you say that this will have an impact, that you can say there's some data besides saying, well, we think this number works because Montana's doing it or whoever's doing it. What do I have as a person who cares about numbers and like, well, how do we come up, how do we drive this position during the process that this is the appropriate thing? I mean, what can you point to that says that we've done a study or we've asked people on an exit question? Anything you can help me with to help me understand that better? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
General.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Kolb, I concur with your statement. Up to 5,000, that makes sense to me on that language. When you talk about, I think the only thing that I could point to is the success of our federal extension bonuses when we're re-enlisting our men and women in uniform. Money makes a difference, particularly in our state where jobs are tight. I probably owe you some further data on the success rate of that, but when that's one of the primary reasons that folks extend is for the benefits and the amount of cash that they get on the federal side. So I think I owe you some more, but I'd say empirically, and that's been our experience is money talks.
Okay. Further questions? Okay, now I'll open it up to public comment. Ms. Winnie, please come forward.
Mr. Chairman, Bill Winnie, I'm from Sublette County. 30 years active duty in the Navy, submarine world. I support the bill. What I've seen the Navy do for illumination for you all is tailor the bonuses they give the Navy submarine world, nuclear operators, reactor operators, electronics technicians, the realm of AI coming up, and they tailor the bonuses to the skill sets they want. And that's what I see the general trying to do, is tailor it to the people he thinks he needs. And that's why the up to is part of the concept. But you should consider what our young people sign up to do when they join the National Guard, because we use them in a lot of places. And they give up weekends and things like that. I have a son and daughter-in-law that are in the Guard, and I see them go off to weekend training, and they have to take care of kids while they're gone and things like that. And there's things that are of benefit. I myself in the officer world was the beneficiary of a spot promotion as a chief engineer. And so you tailor the money, as the general has noted, their experiences, money talks. And you want a skill set for the State Guard, and I support the bill. Subject to your questions, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Winnie. Any questions? Thank you. Appreciate it. Any further public comment? Okay, no, public comment is closed. What's your pleasure, committee? Okay, it's been moved by Senator Cooper, seconded by Senator Anderson. Discussion, let's, anything on page 1 you want to discuss? Okay, on to page 2. Senator Barlow.
Mr. Chairman, my amendment is to strike on page 2, lines 11 into 12 of $5,000, and then the $5,000 numerical on the next page. So this is creating the program, and then in Romanet 2, it actually talks about up to $5,000. So I'm just trying to have it
Clean
one
it.
way or the other. I don't want to put up to here and up to there. I think we just get rid of the dollar amount here. So everything of $5,000, and then the dollar amount on line 12, excuse me. And that's a strike. That's my motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Senator Barlow, seconded by Senator Kolb to strike on page 11 the words of $5,000, and on line 12 the numerical number 5,000. Okay.
Question.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Amendment's been adopted. Okay, any further changes to page 2? Let's move to page 3. Okay, hearing none, let's go to page 4. No changes to page 4. Page 5. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is a one-time appropriation for one biennia, but the program remains in statute, and it's not to be added to the standard budget. So this bill will have to go to appropriations.
It will.
So I think maybe we'll flag that for them, that if we want this to be, whether we want this to be at least eligible for continuing appropriation with that through appropriations, but they can take that up. I just wanted to point that out, that it's a forever statute with a one biennium appropriation. Thank you.
Okay. Senator Kolb?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to add to this, I think in the future, if this appropriation does come up, I'm just talking just generally, we're going to have some data on what it's done and how it's worked. that's just a general thought.
I'm sure
Thank
the
you, Mr. Chairman.
Appropriations Committee will ask those questions as well. Correct.
Thank
you. Okay, committee, any further Senator Barlow.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is just a broad comment. I'm going to go back to page 3, lines 1, 2, and 3. I understand what this is, and hopefully we'll be dealt with in rules, but I also don't want it to be eligibility requirements service member by service member. I think we have to have uniform requirements that everybody understands and not certain people have different requirements maybe than others. I think just uniformity of the requirements, that's my suggestion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And uniformity means by probably AFSC or MOS. It will depend on, but not individual. Yeah, I understand. And I don't think the department's thinking that way either. So, okay. All right. I think we're good. Let's have a vote.
This is a roll call vote for Senate File 12 as amended. Senator Anderson.
Aye.
Senator Barlow.
Aye.
Senator Cooper.
Aye.
Senator Kolb.
Aye.
Chairman Pappas.
Aye.
5 ayes.
Anybody care for this one? If not, I'll take it. Okay, I'll do it. All right. On to the last bill for the day, Senate File 13, Wyoming National Guard Member Referral Amendments, General.
To get somebody competent to go through this.
Lieutenant Costa.
Mr. Chairman,
Colonel Costa.
I will take you through this bill. So this is bill number 19, section 19-9-403. And there are proposed amendments on page 2, section E, lines 9 through 12. This section extends the benefits to veterans of the Wyoming National Guard, current employees of the Wyoming military departments, or recruits beginning the enlistment process with the Wyoming National Guard. So the pool of people who can provide referrals extends from the Wyoming National Guard members only to additional group. In subsection E, I, this section explains that what information the qualifying persons as listed in section E and this subsection will provide and of potential recruitees, and that information includes, for example, a person's name or contact information is limited in nature. Moving to subsection 2 i's, this subsection basically reinstates who will receive the benefits, and what is important to stress that those benefits would be disbursed upon completion of accession. So the process has to be completed. The member needs to join the Wyoming National Guard. In subsection 4B, the amount of the referral bonus is increased from $500 to $1,000. And then in subsection 5, the sunset of this bill is extended from 1 July 2026 to 1 July 2028 or 30 June 2028. And as in section 2, as General Porter already stated, we would ask to increase the total dollar amount from $163,000 to $250,000.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank
very
you.
much.
So committee, any questions of the department? Senator Kolb.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's really quick. This is an expansion of the eligibility. Any data that says what's this done or what it hasn't done, General or whomever, Mr. Chairman?
Mr.
General.
Chairman, Senator Kolb, if I get we've got 109 enlistments using this with a fairly small group of fishermen per se. It's only Wyoming National Guard personnel right now. So this was an attempt to try to broaden the fishermen out there for employees of the National Guard and veterans of the National Guard, because we see so many of those. That's where folks refer people, is our friends and family. So this was an attempt to try to get more veterans of the National Guard to refer folks to leads to us that lead to an enlistment. So that was the intent. So it was just to increase the pool of people out there that can refer and be compensated for.
I don't think you'd see any data because they haven't been doing it. So,
Question.
okay, maybe.
Mr. Chairman, let me try again.
Okay,
I don't care about the fishermen. I'm talking about if you didn't have these particular fishermen out there with their lure, what's the difference between people that would have just re-enlisted and the ones that wouldn't have re-enlisted? That's my question.
Mhm.
I'll try again. Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Senator, I don't know that I could prove that negative of what couldn't. I mean, I don't have, I know we generated 109 enlistments directly to the referral bonus. How much of those would or not, I couldn't tell you.
So I think his question is, you have 109 people that re-enlisted, that took the money, but how many people re-enlisted that didn't need a referral? I think, is that what you're asking?
Mr. Chairman, maybe a little more light on it. So you'd be a fool not to take the money, okay? I mean, I think that's not my question. My question is, if there wasn't a bonus, how many folks would have re-enlisted anyway because they want to go back in the Guard, or, they want to stay in instead of the money? Obviously, it's the money they'll take. I don't blame them. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, folks that would have normally re-enlisted, what increase would you see from a normal re-enlistment routine, like in the past, percentage-wise, to currently what you're having? What impact has it had?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Colville, I apologize for complaining. This is not a re-enlistment bonus. So this is the referral bonus. So this is for those folks that are out there and they say, Senator Anderson, would you like to join the Guard? Let me hook you up with a recruiter. They bring them to the recruiter, they enlist. Now they get the bonus for referring that individual to do that. Let me stop there and make sure that we're all on the same sheet.
I misspoke. I meant the referral program.
And so did I.
The same question applies.
So all I can tell you is in 2024, we were able to get about 248 enlistments across there, and we've doubled that with this program in that time. So does that help, sir? Yeah.
Senator Barlow, did you have a question? Okay. That's what I want to get. Okay. All right. Further questions? Okay. Oh, did you? No? Okay. All right. I believe we need to hear from the public. Yes. Any public comment? Mr. Winnie?
Mr. Chairman, Bill Winnie, Sublette County. Again, 30 years active duty in the submarine force. Don't discount the value of a member of the Guard talking to his friend who's not in the Guard and saying, hey, here's what it's like. Unlike the regular military that you see where a guy enlists, goes off to boot camp, and then goes to far-flung duty stations, those that go onto our submarines and aircraft carriers go into far reaches of the planet. Our guardsmen stay here in the state. They go off to training, but they come back. And so their ability to talk to their friends, a high school friend or whatever, and say, hey, here's what I saw. You give up things like some of your weekends, and sometimes you get called into state active duty, or it wasn't so long ago they got called up for flooding up in the Riverton area, and so on. But, overall, it's whatever it is. And that link, I think, is what you are looking for, and I support the bill. Subject to your questions. Thank you.
Questions, committee? Thank you. Senator Barlow.
Mr. Chairman, just a clarification. The way the language reads on page 3, lines 17 through 19 is an amount not to exceed 500 in current statute and 1,000. So has the amount been $500 or has it been based on the amount available, prorated, et cetera? So just to clarify for me. Thank you,
General?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Barlow, it has been 500.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay, so we'll close public comment unless there's anybody else out there. I don't see any. No one online again. Okay, close public comment. What's your pleasure? Okay, Senator Cooper, moved, Senator Barlow seconded. Let's, anything on page 1 you want to discuss? No, on to page 2. Any changes? Additions? Deletions? None. On to page 3. Nothing there, okay. And on to page 4. Does anyone have an amendment there?
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Barlow.
sure, reticent to do, I can't say the word, to do this, but I think we got to send a signal to help the general when he goes in front of appropriations. So I would move to strike $163,000 and insert $250,000. I believe that's the number the general wanted. Since this will go to appropriations, that'll be a good number or a starting place, and the good general can justify it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's my motion.
Do I have a second? Okay, moved by Barlow, seconded by Cooper. I also agree with that, you know, it was 250,000 and we actually lowered it on your advice, which again was in error at the time, and I understand that. And remember, we won't use this money unless there's an accession. So it has to pay in order to spend the money. So I think it's a wise move. So all those in, oh, do you have a
Yeah,
on the amendment?
no, that amendment we're making, change that 163 to 250. Would that also change the fiscal note or would you
250.
leave it alone?
250, not 50.
250, yeah,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Fiscal note will have to change. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So, any other, comments on that amendment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the amendment's adopted. Anything else on the bill? Okay, let's have a vote.
This is a roll call vote for Senate File 13 as amended. Senator Anderson,
Aye.
Senator Barlow.
Aye.
Senator Cooper.
Aye.
Senator Kolb,
Aye.
Chairman Pappas,
Aye.
5 ayes.
Okay, thank you. Anybody care to carry this one? No? Okay, I can do. Okay,
Won't you have to do it all?
no, that's all right. I can do them all. All right. Yeah, if you want to, if not. Okay, that concludes our business for today. Thank you, everyone.